the thing is, I think I was on such a high anyway, and so was Catherine, about George, that really we were happy to show him off to whoever wanted to see him. As any new parent knows, you're only too happy to show off your new child and, you know, proclaim that he's the best looking or the best everything.
The thing is, I think I was on such a high anyway, and so was Catherine, about George, that really we were happy to show him off to whoever wanted to see him. As any new parent knows, you're only too happy to show off your new child and, you know, proclaim that he's the best looking or the best everything. A sudden announcement from Buckingham Palace has shaken the nation, bringing unexpected attention to Prince Louis and Prince George. Prince Louis is clearly a delightful character. He's full of energy. He's full of beans. He clearly finds these photo opportunities very exciting. After weeks of quiet concern surrounding the royal household, officials have confirmed a development that has left many struggling to understand what it means for the young brothers. The solutions are out there. There's real solutions to these problems. This update isn't routine or minor. It marks a serious turning point in their lives. So, what exactly pushed the palace to speak out so urgently? A palace statement like no other. The words from Buckingham Palace lit up screens across the nation, each syllable carrying a weight rarely seen in royal statements. It wasn't about protocol, engagements, or ceremonial appearances. It was about Prince George and Prince Louis, the young princes whose laughter once brought warmth to millions. Now the palace acknowledged something deeply personal, quietly serious, and heartbreakingly real. Even the senior staff were caught off guard. There were no whispers, no preliminary alerts. The official statement landed suddenly. The family appreciates the public's kindness as they navigate a private matter concerning Prince George and Prince Louis. For seasoned royal correspondents, the tone was startling. It conveyed emotion, gravity, and care in a way Buckingham rarely permits. The choice of words hinted at challenges far beyond ordinary childhood struggles, leaving the public to wonder what had prompted such an unusually candid note. Speculation spread almost instantly. Some insiders suggested the turbulence of the past year, the king's health concerns, Princess Catherine's long recovery, and the relentless glare of the media had created pressures quietly felt by even the youngest members of the royal family. Teachers at Lamook received discreet calls. Upcoming family appearances were delayed, and staff moved with a new caution, aware that the smallest misstep could draw unwanted attention. The announcement revealed the monarchy's rare willingness to acknowledge vulnerability, humanizing a family often seen only through pomp and ceremony. Yet, it also highlighted the care with which royal decisions are made behind the scenes. The palace's statement, carefully worded, was both protective and measured, signaling that this was a matter of privacy, not scandal. Observers noted the contrast with the royal public image. Prince William, increasingly steady and commanding in his role as heir, appeared unshaken, reinforcing the monarchy's focus on continuity and calm authority. Meanwhile, whispers suggested Prince Harry's recent travels and movements had drawn renewed attention, though no official connection was confirmed. The palace remained silent on specifics, letting the statement's gravity speak for itself. Across Britain, households paused to absorb the news. Phones lit up with messages of concern. Televisions hummed with coverage, and social media buzzed with speculation. For a moment, the nation glimpsed a royal family as any other, facing private trials in the midst of public life. Prince George and Prince Louis, normally symbols of innocence and joy, had become a quiet reminder. Even within the gilded walls of Buckingham Palace, life can be fragile and every heartbeat matters. In acknowledging this, the monarchy balanced duty with humanity, sending a message both subtle and profound. The palace had reminded the world that beyond titles, crowns, and ceremonies, the family remains a family, and even princes are vulnerable. But even as the palace emphasized family over titles, a single question lingered. What was Prince William's next move in the unusually still courtyard of Kensington Palace? The moment the palace fell silent, when Prince William stepped before the cameras, his voice was steady, but the world could feel the weight pressing behind it. Every word seemed to carry the full burden of the crown. The family and the nation watching from every corner of the globe. "My father's condition is stable," he said softly. "But his illness is incurable. We are cherishing the time we have together." The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. It wasn't just the confirmation of a rumor. It was the acknowledgement of a truth too painful to disguise. Outside Buckingham Palace, grief and disbelief mingled in the air. Thousands gathered, standing shoulder-to-shoulder in the chill of a gray afternoon, clutching flowers, candles, and phones that streamed the moment again and again. Some prayed quietly. Others simply stared at the palace windows, hoping for movement, a shadow, anything. Reporters lined the mall like sentinels, cameras fixed on the balcony that had seen so many royal waves now drawn behind velvet curtains. Across oceans, headlines erupted. News anchors' tones shifted from speculation to sorrow. The words incurable anguishing echoed across time zones. 2 words that reshaped how the world saw their monarch. For months, there had been whispers. King Charles, diagnosed with cancer in early 2024, had continued to fulfill his duties, attending meetings, greeting ambassadors, and maintaining the public calm that defined his reign. But those close enough to witness him privately saw the difference. The slower movements, the longer pauses, the fatigue that no public smile could conceal. It wasn't the first time the king had faced pain with such quiet dignity. In his younger years, Charles was the image of strength and determination. He rose before dawn, rode for hours through the damp Scottish air, and found peace in the simplicity of soil and saddle. His devotion to polo and the countryside was legendary, not for leisure, but a proof of endurance. To him, health was discipline and resilience was duty. But time, relentless as it is, began to test that discipline. Surgeries and injuries came in waves. The knee operation in 1998, a hernia repair in 2003. The minor procedures that followed in later years. Each time he emerged smiling, shaking hands with nurses, and waving to photographers determined to show that the body could yield without surrender, yet those closest to him began to sense a quiet shift, a deeper reflection on fragility, on legacy, on the limits of strength itself. Now, as William faced the cameras, that legacy seemed to stand behind him, proud, weathered, unbroken. The king who had once played through pain now inspired a son who spoke through heartbreak. The monarchy had always been about endurance, about holding one's head high no matter the storm. But this time, even endurance had a cost. And as the palace remained still under the November sky, Britain waited, suspended between gratitude and grief, wondering how much longer the silence would last. But when the silence finally breaks, will it mark the end of a reign or the beginning of a reckoning within the crown? Stay tuned. The girl who would be different, Princess Charlotte, has always occupied a unique position within the royal hierarchy. Born on May 2, 2015, she is fourth in line to the throne, positioned between her elder brother, Prince George, and younger brother, Prince Louis. But unlike George, who carries the weight of future kingship, and Louis, who enjoys the relative. The sort of story the public loves, one that links the fun of childhood with good causes. Many might have expected the palace to accept the invitation, especially since royal patronages are such a long-standing tradition within the family. But what happened next surprised everyone. Buckingham Palace responded with a message that was both polite and full of humor. They thanked the organizers warmly for their thoughtful offer, but explained that Prince Louis was busy concentrating on his studies. The clever wordplay made many people smile, showing a glimpse of the light-hearted side of royal life. Yet behind the joke, there was a meaningful decision. Prince William and Princess Catherine had chosen to politely decline the offer. Their reason was simple. They want their children to grow up as normally as possible. Even though Prince Louis is high in the line of succession, his parents have always made it clear that they want him along with his brother George and sister Charlotte to have a ground childhood filled with school, play, and family time rather than public duties. Prince Louis's love for conkers first came to light when the Princess of Wales mentioned it during a public visit. She said that their home, Adelaide Cottage, was often full of conkers he had collected. The conkers was hidden under pillows, in drawers, and even inside his bed. She laughed. Ash described how Louis used his toy trucks to carry them around, turning a simple hobby into endless fun. It was a glimpse of a little boy who, despite being royal, loves the same small joys as any other child. By the time autumn came to an end, the young prince's conker collection had nearly taken over the house. At that same time, he was preparing for his half-term break from Lamrook School, the same school attended by his siblings. There were also rumors that the Wales family might soon move to a new home, Forest Lodge, which would give the children even more space to play outdoors. The palace's response to the Conquer patronage offer reflected that family-focused lifestyle. For Prince William and Princess Catherine, childhood isn't something to rush through. They believe their children should have the freedom to grow, learn, and play without the heavy expectations of royal life pressing down too soon. But while the decision made sense, it also sparked a wave of reflection. Many people pointed out that Lizzie wouldn't have been the first young royal to be linked with a charity role. In fact, history shows that members of the royal family have often been introduced to service at a young age. Prince William and Prince Harry, for example, both learned about public duty from their parents. Princess Diana made sure her sons saw real life beyond the palace walls. She took them to hospitals, shelters, and community centers, teaching them empathy and kindness through experience rather than lectures. William often spoke later about how those visits shaped him. How watching his mother talk to people with gentleness and compassion showed him what service really means. But it did not stop with them. Their father, now King Charles III, also started young. When he was just 9, he was formally named Prince of Wales. And though it was a symbolic title, it marked the start of his long public journey. As a teenager, he began representing Queen Elizabeth IIAT events and developed a passion for causes like the environment and youth development. Those early lessons would later define his life's work. Other royals followed similar paths. Princess Anne, known for her strong work ethic, began taking part in official duties while still a teenager. By the time she was 20, she became president of Save the Children, and she didn't treat it as a title on paper. She threw herself into the work, visiting projects around the world. Decades later, she remains one of the most active members of the royal family. Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, had a quieter introduction to public life. While he often accompanied his parents to events when he was young, he took time to find his own direction. Later he became involved in organizations that matched his personal interests in education and the arts. His early experiences observing royal duty helped him understand how to connect his hobbies with meaningful public work. Even going further back, royal children in earlier centuries were often given honorary titles long before they were ready for real responsibilities. In the 80s, Prince Albert Edward, later King Edward IIIth, received numerous honorary appointments as a boy. Mostly symbolic roles meant to show royal support. Adults handled the actual work, but the titles helped reinforce the royal family's connection to society. Over time, the approach to raising royal children has changed. The focus shifted from giving them titles early to letting them learn through experience and maturity. Instead of being placed in the spotlight too soon, they are gradually introduced to what it means to serve others by watching, learning, and understanding the people behind the ceremonies. That change is clear in how Prince William and Princess Catherine are raising their 3 children. They've often said they want George, Charlotte, and Louis to understand the world before representing it. Their public appearances are carefully chosen and each child is slowly introduced to royal duties in age-appropriate ways. Turning down the Conquer patronage might seem like a small thing, but it shows a big part of their philosophy. They want Lizzie to enjoy his early years to focus on school, friends, and simple childhood moments before carrying the weight of royal expectations. It's a reminder that even in the royal family, being a child still matters. And while the story made people smile, it also earned respect. Many saw it as a sign that the next generation of royals will grow up with a stronger sense of balance, one that makes them aware of duty, but not defined by it too early. In a family that has faced its share of pressure, this gentle approach feels refreshing. And now, as the young prince continues his journey, many are curious about what's next for him and his siblings. How are Prince William and Princess Catherine really preparing their children for future royal duties? Stay tuned. The answers may surprise you. Tears in the Palace. At 76, King Charles III is said to have broken down in private, overwhelmed with tears after a deeply unsettling confrontation with 2 of the people closest to him, his son, Prince William, and his sister, Princess Anne. What shook him so deeply was not just their words, but the weight of their demand. One that